My name is Jashwant Jeenu. I have secured All India rank 23 in UPSC Civil Services Examination 2025. My optional in this examination is chemistry. In chemistry, I have secured 308 marks, which is probably the highest this year. So it's been a long journey for me in civil service examination. So it started in 2021 when I got All India rank 314 and I got into Indian Postal Service. Next, in 2022, I got into Indian Railway Management Service, and in the same year, I got into Indian Forest Service as well by getting All India rank 51. So, in Indian Forest Service, out of the two optionals, chemistry has been a common optional. Later, in 2023, I secured All India rank 162 and got into Indian Police Service. In 2024, I got All India rank 392, but my service didn't get upgraded. And finally, this year in 2025, I got All India rank 23 and would be getting into IAS. So over all these years, behind getting multiple ranks, chemistry has been a constant contributor. So I got 285 marks in 2021, 262 in 2022, 293 in 2023, and it again fell down to 260 in 2024. And finally, this year I got 308 marks, which is a very good score. So in this video, I am bringing you the detailed strategy of what I have followed, the resources I have followed, so that the future aspirants might benefit. So first of all, a question that I get asked very regularly: why chemistry optional? So I have considered like 4 or 5 factors behind judging this. The first factor is personal interest. So I have studied chemistry till my 12th during my JEE preparation. So though I don't have a chemistry background after that, till school level I was pretty much interested in chemistry. So this is a subject where I could study for hours without getting bored, and it's a subject which I personally enjoyed studying. So always make sure that the optional you choose is a subject you enjoy. Second is a personal strength. So for me, I had a reasonably good problem solving ability, and chemistry is a subject in which I have performed decently well in the past. So it also aligns with my personal strengths. The third factor is the resource availability. In UPSC, there are some options in which unfortunately there is a dearth of resources. But in chemistry, there are good resources, and especially in the recent years, they are well augmented. And so the resource availability is not an issue when it comes to chemistry optional. Fourth is a scoring pattern. So technical options generally tend to score well. They do demand a lot of time, but they also tend to be pretty rewarding. Especially in the last 2 years, humanities options have been punished. The scoring in humanities options has gone down, and hence technical options have started looking more attractive again. So the scoring in chemistry in particular has also remained particularly high. The highest score always ranges around 300, 310, etc. So it's a pretty rewarding optional if you put in the time. An additional factor is that Indian Forest Service examination needs 2 optionals, and chemistry being a technical option can be chosen as one of the optionals. This is not an option available with the humanities optional students. So that is also, and Indian Forest Service being an all India service is a pretty good backup, and that's also one of the factors behind choosing this optional. Another question I get asked frequently is that do we need a chemistry background to choose this optional? The answer is no. I myself am a computer science graduate from IIT Kanpur, and I have studied chemistry only till class 12th. So if you have a reasonably good fundamentals in chemistry and decent problem solving ability, this is an optional you can go through. You can choose, definitely choose. So the requirement, yes, the paper one especially has good problems, and it requires some problem solving ability. Along with that, what technical options like chemistry demand a lot of time. So if you choose a technical optional, you should be prepared to devote at least 40 to 50% of your entire mains preparation time to your optional. But at the same time, the rewards are pretty good. So these technical options demand that you go all in, and once you go all in and finish the syllabus, the rewards can be pretty high and also can be pretty consistent as well. But at the same time, there is a disclaimer that if you do not complete the syllabus, if you do not devote adequate time, your scores might actually go down below 250. So technical options tend to be high risk, high reward, and given the nature of examinations, I believe we need to go for options which have a high reward. So personally, I was okay with the risk cost benefit ratio, and hence I chose chemistry as my option. So first, I'll deal with the broad outline of my strategy. and then later I'll deal with the specifics of each topic and how I prepared them. So first, for my broad strategy, first of all, I never made any notes. This is because there's an aspirant called Lovepreet in the chemistry aspirant community who has made wonderful notes. So I personally felt, why reinvent the wheel again? So the notes made by him are pretty exhaustive and pretty extensive in terms of coverage. So I made that my base notes, and if there are any additions required, I made some minor additions here and there. But broadly, I relied on the notes made by Lovepreet. The rest and the time which I saved by not making notes, I actually deployed them in revising revising the material and practicing the content. The second leg of my strategy is practice. This is an aspect in which I have ignored in my earlier attempts, but in this attempt, I have made sure that I practiced a lot. So chemistry is optional in which there are a lot of problems, and if you get the calculations wrong, unfortunately you are penalized very heavily. So in UPSC, mostly the marking is binary, and if you get a problem wrong, if you get a calculation wrong, even at the last step, you end up getting 0 or maximum 1 or 2 marks. Hence, in this attempt, I ensured that I practiced a lot so that I can reproduce what I have learned under pressure with accuracy. And the third leg of my strategy, particularly in this attempt, is not ignoring the fringe topics. So in chemistry, there are certain topics which we tend to be not comfortable while studying, and those questions are not frequently asked, hence we tend to ignore those topics. However, in this attempt, I wanted to make sure that I am completely well prepared. So I prepared those fringe topics as well completely. This ensured that I'm not left with a dearth of options when it comes to choosing the questions in the options subject. And especially in the last couple of years, the question papers have become increasingly tough, and hence we cannot afford to leave out any topic, because that topic might end up being the reason why we might have to leave out an entire question and choose a question in which you are not comfortable. So hence, don't ignore the fringe topics. So now I'll go into the details, specifics of my strategy with respect to each topic and how I prepared them. So now let's come to the specifics of my strategy, which is topic wise. So broadly, for each topic, I have mostly relied on notes and have stayed away from reference books. Maybe apart from 1-2 topics, I have completely avoided reading any reference books. So for content, I relied on notes mostly made by Lovepreet, and for problem practice, I have had some sources which I'll detail later in the video. So coming to paper 1. So paper 1 consists of 75% physical chemistry and 25% inorganic chemistry. So let's start with physical chemistry. So in physical chemistry, for every topic, while the Lovepreet's notes are a one-stop solution, the coverage is pretty extensive, and rest assured you need not refer to any reference book other than that. So first, let's start with atomic structure. Atomic structure, the content comes from the notes made by Lovepreet, and other than that, you need to get pretty comfortable solving various problems consisting of integrations, say the 1D box, Schrodinger wave equation, etc., like deriving average values and all. So you need some practice to make sure that you are pretty comfortable solving those integrals with accuracy. Also, you need to be pretty comfortable dealing with the spherical coordinates in Schrodinger wave equation. So you need to mug up the equations of 1s, 2s, 2p orbitals so that you can directly replicate them in the exam and solve the questions with accuracy. The second topic is chemical bonding. So I'll be not repeating, but for all the topics, the base source has remained the same, which is Lovepreet's notes, and I'll also detail whichever extra sessions, extra things which need to be taken care of. So coming to chemical bonding, so most of the topics are pretty straightforward: Born-Lande equation, Born-Haber equation, and others like valence bond theory, molecular orbital theory, etc. So you need to ensure that all the topics are covered and you don't leave any of them. The third topic is solid state. Coming to solid state, it's a pretty straightforward topic. The questions, they are related to crystal structures, crystal defects, unit cells, their densities, etc. So just ensure that you have reasonable accuracy in solving those questions and you are done for the topic. The next topic is gaseous state. In gaseous state as well, there are most of the topics are straightforward. The Maxwell gas relations, molecular gas speeds, kinetic gas theory, ideal gas equation, Van der Waals equation, equations of state, etc. However, at the end, there are some fringe topics which students too tend to ignore, like effusion, thermal conductivity of a gas, viscosity of a gas. Make sure that you cover those topics as well and don't ignore them. The fifth topic is liquid state. Again, a pretty small and straightforward topic. The topics like viscosity, surface tension, capillary rise. The problems are pretty simple and there's high returns on it because every year there are questions from it. So don't miss out on the topic. The next topic is thermodynamics. This is one of the tougher topics of paper 1. So this is because there are a lot of topics in which one naturally not comfortable with. Like we need to deal with partial derivatives, etc. So make sure that you go through Lovepreet's notes multiple times so that you become comfortable with those. You need to become completely comfortable with equations involving partial derivatives like the test equations, Cp minus Cv equal to R derivation and many more. Also there are a lot of processes like isothermal, adiabatic, isochoric, and which also involve like reversible, irreversible. So there needs to be enough practice so that we can be confident on which case to, which condition to apply in which scenario and how to solve each problem. And there are also a lot of topics in this, the laws of thermodynamics, Carnot engine, Clausius inequality and many more. Make sure you cover each of the topics and don't ignore any of them. Also in the end, there are again fringe topics which tend to be ignored, like partial molar properties, chemical potential, mixing of real gases and ideal gases, etc. So make sure you complete you know the derivations and also know the final formula and also key steps in between, so that you can reproduce the same in the exam with accuracy. The next topic is phase equilibrium, which is again mostly a straightforward topic. It involves mostly Clausius-Clapeyron equation, phase diagrams, etc. Make sure you are thorough with the phase diagrams. Otherwise, it's a high written topic and pretty easily you can secure the marks of questions from this topic. So now we shall move on to inorganic chemistry. So first of all, why read inorganic chemistry? So first of all, over the years, it's been observed that questions on inorganic chemistry tend to have better returns. This is because many students end up ignoring inorganic chemistry, hence they do not attempt the questions from that particular topic. And if you end up attempting those questions and do them right, so there is a chance that the examiner might award higher marks for that question. The second is, being unlike physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry doesn't have any calculations. Hence, it's relatively risk-free and there's a greater probability that you'll end up scoring good marks in the question. And finally, the time factor. Many topics in inorganic chemistry have shorter answers and hence you can significantly save upon time and use that extra time in questions of physical chemistry. So now let's go over the topics. So coming to the sources first. Here Lovepreet's notes are again a very good source, but they need to be augmented here and there with other sources which I'll detail in the video. The first topic in inorganic is bioinorganic chemistry. For this topic, Lovepreet's notes are more than sufficient. So there are other various topics, cytochromes, ferredoxins, hemoglobin, myoglobin, sodium potassium pump, etc. So you just need multiple revisions of that topic, and once you get strong in that, you can answer most of the questions from that topic. The next topic is coordination chemistry. So this is the toughest topic in inorganic chemistry. So this can broadly be divided into 4 parts. So the first part consists of like valence bond theory, crystal field theory, tetrahedral, octahedral splitting, Jahn-Teller distortion and other topics. The second topic consists of topics like thermodynamic and kinetic stability of complexes, Orgel diagrams, trans effect, etc. So for these first 2 topics, Lovepreet's notes are more than sufficient. So do go through them. However, there are again part 3 and part 4 which are transition metal complexes, carbonyls and nitrosyls and others. For these topics, they are not covered in Lovepreet's notes. Hence, you can refer to Abhijit Agarwal sir's notes. Sir is a 2009 ranker from Chemistry Optional who has made detailed notes on these topics. So as of now, that's the best source I have found to cover those topics. So the next topic is main group chemistry. So even in this topic, Lovepreet has made his own notes. Other than that, I also have made a PDF containing scanned pages from O.P. Tandon and J.D. Lee, some scanned excerpts. I'll upload them on my Telegram channel. So my Telegram channel is Jaswant Jinu, JSWANTH JWNU. So I'll be uploading strategies and my learnings and the resources of my chemistry optional. So you can see, you can download the PDF from there, from that channel. And also I have complemented that PDF with some YouTube videos available. I'll also be sharing the links of those particular YouTube videos in that channel. So once you do that PDF and those YouTube channels, you'll be pretty much covered with main group chemistry. And the next topic is F block elements. This is a relatively smaller topic. There are a few topics like trend in color of F block elements, the trends, the magnetic moment, calculating the magnetic moment, and others. So because these are standard topics, you need to focus on answer writing, like how well you can present these topics, present answers from on topics from on questions from these topics. And also actinides are a topic which are missing in Lovepreet notes, so you can complement that from YouTube videos. The next topic is electrochemistry, and this is the toughest topic in whole of paper 1, and many students end up leaving many parts of this many part topics of electrochemistry. So please don't do that. So first of all, it requires a lot of time, so be prepared to invest a lot of time in electrochemistry, because at the end this can end up becoming the point of difference, like a 15 marker from say Ilkovich equation or say over potential, which many students ignore, and if you end up answering it, then that will become the point of difference in your scoring. So make sure that you don't leave out anything. The coverage in Lovepreet's notes is holistic, but make sure that you go through his notes for electrochemistry multiple times. This is a topic which requires significant investment of time. So firstly, there are a lot of topics, say Faraday's law, D by Haeckel's law, Ostwald's law, Kohlrausch law, and many more. So make sure that you are pretty well versed with all of them, the electrochemical series and its applications, determination of KH, pH, KSP, etc. Also, there are some derivations which you need to mug up, say the Ilkovich equation, the transport number calculation, calculation of liquid junction potential, and those derivations you need to mug them up so that you can under exam pressure you can reproduce them with accuracy. Also, there are some fringe topics which are slightly difficult to understand, the polarization, over potential, and all. They're difficult to visualize as well. So you can take help of YouTube tutorial videos on the same topic, and to some extent you also need to mug them up to ensure accuracy, because the questions asked from those topics are straightforward, but many students end up leaving them because they are difficult to understand. So don't do that mistake. The next topic is chemical kinetics. So this is also a pretty extensive topic. So the reactions, mostly the calculations come from first order, second order reactions, or reversible reactions, fast reactions, and all. Yes, you need to know the derivation, but make sure that you remember the final formula, so that even if you forget the derivation, you actually use the final formula to solve the problems. And two important derivations is calculation of rate constant to transition state theory, and one more is collision theory. So make sure you know each and every step of the derivation, because they can be asked for 15 marks directly in the examination, and almost every year there is at least one question coming from that area. And finally, there are some fringe topics which students again tend to ignore, the relaxation methods, fast reactions, etc. Please don't do that mistake. Ensure the coverage is there in Lovepreet's notes, so you can refer the topics from there. The next topic is photochemistry. It is one of the simpler topics, just some standard questions based on Beer-Lambert law and Jablonski diagram. Just go through them and you'll be fine. And the final topic of physical chemistry in paper 1 is surface chemistry. So there are some straightforward topics, Langmuir isotherm, Friedrich isotherm, Betti equation. However, there are some derivations of HCl, HBr, and others for deriving the rate equation and the inference from that. So yes, you can derive them, but the better way I would suggest is to mug up the key steps of the derivation, so that you can reproduce them quickly. Like this year, there was a 20 marker question on regarding HBr, the derivation of rate constant HBr, and some related questions. So if I sit and try to derive completely in the examination, it would end up taking a lot of time, and it might also lead to some mistakes and loss of accuracy. So instead, because I have mugged up the key steps and the key points of the derivation, I could just reproduce it very quickly in the examination. So it ended up saving me a lot of time, which I could use in other questions. So please do that. Now we shall move on to paper 2. So in chemistry optional, paper 2 is completely organic chemistry. So for this, let's go topic by topic. The first topic is aromaticity. It's a pretty straightforward topic and a scoring topic as well. Always the first question tends to be from aromaticity, and it's a great way to set the right impression for the examiner. So make sure you focus on your answer presentation as well when it comes to aromaticity. Coming to the source, Lovepreet's notes for this topic are a one-stop solution. You need not refer anything other than that. The second topic is reaction mechanisms, reactive intermediates, and others. So these topics are the fundamentals of organic chemistry. Hence, you need if your fundamentals are not strong enough, make sure that you devote enough time and do rigorous practice so that you become strong in the fundamentals and get a feel of organic chemistry. And coming to the source, again, Lovepreet's notes in these topics are also pretty self-sufficient. The next topic is named reactions. Again, for these named reactions, Lovepreet has made pretty extensive notes of around probably 150 pages. But this is one topic where I would suggest making short notes. This is because there are probably more than 30 reactions, and in the examination, on seeing a reagent and the reactant, you should be immediately able to guess what the reaction is. Not just that, guessing that, even if they ask only the product, it's advisable that you write the reaction mechanism as well, unless if the question is less than 5 marks and there's paucity of time. So to get that level of comfort in these topics, you need to make sure that you revise them multiple times. So that's why for this topic alone, I would suggest making a short notes, just having the simple reaction mechanism in simpler terms and the main reaction, so that you can keep on revising them multiple times. The next topic is pericyclic reactions, and I will also cover photochemistry along with this. So pericyclic reactions and photochemistry, which involves free radicals, etc. So for these topics, Lovepreet hasn't made any notes so far. So for these topics, I would suggest referring to Dyer's material. So that is the best source available as of now. So you can refer to Dyer's notes for these both topics. And for practice of these topics, so there's a book Jagadamba. At the ending of the book, there are 100 plus questions consisting of questions both from pericyclic and photochemistry. So make sure that you do the first 60-70 of those questions. Like the rest are like a bit too difficult and beyond the scope of this exam. But the first 60-70 questions do provide enough practice for both the topics. The next topic is biopolymers, polymers and biopolymers. So coming to polymers, Lovepreet's notes are a pretty good source. You can just skim through Abhijit Agarwal sir's notes on the same topic to fill any missing gaps. And the second sub part of this is biopolymers. So Lovepreet hasn't uploaded his notes so far. So for that topic, you can rely on Abhijit Agarwal sir's notes. The next topic is reagents and their synthetic uses. So Lovepreet's notes are a pretty one-stop solution for reagents as well. If you want, you can also augment it by skimming through Brilliant Tutorials notes, which are available online. You can skim through them to fill any missing gaps in some reagents. Also make sure that you are also reasonably well versed with the reaction mechanisms, so that you can use them as value addition in some questions even if not asked. And the final topic is spectroscopy. So this is indeed the most challenging part of organic chemistry. This is because we don't, especially if you are an engineering graduate, we don't have familiarity with this topic. So again, this topic requires a lot of time investment and practice. So coming to the content, again, Lovepreet's notes are a one-stop solution for all the topics: UV spectra, NMR spectra, IR, etc. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you go through the notes multiple times. This is because this is one topic which requires significant memorization of values, of various values in IR spectra, say mass spectra, so that you can identify the compounds pretty quickly. Also, this has to be complemented with a lot of practice. So coming to the sources of practice, the first source is of course the PYQ and their solved solutions. Second source is Rahul sir of Padhai Likhai has provided a PDF which consists of compilation of spectroscopy questions from various reference books along with the solutions. So you can refer to that PDF. And the third source is Shaheen, who is a former chemistry aspirant. He has also made a compilation of chemistry spectroscopy problems from various books, and those are also pretty well framed questions. So I think these three sources, if done right, are more than enough for practice. Now let's proceed to the second leg of my strategy, which is practice. So this is often something which is neglected by aspirants, including me. During my earlier attempts, I focused more on reading and preparing the content rather than on practice, assuming that I would be able to solve the questions in the exam. And yes, I did to a reasonable extent, but at the end of the day, technical options like chemistry, as I have already discussed, penalize you heavily for miscalculations and silly mistakes. So even if you commit a calculation mistake at the last step and end up getting the wrong answer, you end up getting 0 or maximum 1 or 2 marks. So that's the reason, ensure, especially in this attempt, I have ensured rigorous practice, and I would suggest the same to you as well. And also, practice doesn't mean just practicing the logical part of it, but complete the question, like go through the calculation till the last step, till you get the right answer, so that your accuracy improves under pressure. So coming to sources for practice, as I already said, I didn't rely too much on reference books. So my first and the best source for practice is PYQs. So first, for civil services PYQs is since from 2017 paper onwards till the recent paper, a fellow aspirant has provided detailed solved solutions of all the questions in those papers. So I'll share the link of his channel in my Telegram channel, or I'll forward those copies in my Telegram channel as well. So from those, in those solutions, he didn't just solve the questions, but he also pasted the relevant excerpts from the corresponding reference books. So that ensures that you get a holistic coverage of PYQs and also the relevant topics which have a high probability of being asked in the coming examinations. You can also, after doing the civil services PYQs of those years, you can move on to forest service PYQs. So there are a couple of books. I'll share the links of those in my channel. So those books contain the solved solutions of forest service papers of say the last decade. So you can complement, you can, after finishing CSE PYQ, you can move on to IFS PYQ. However, be careful that the IFS PYQ are higher in level than CSE, and some of the topics are not in syllabus for CSE. So be selective when you are solving IFS questions. So after, if you have solved both CSE and IFS PYQ, then you can move on to any test series. So there is DIAS test series. Rahul sir of Padai Likhai also had a test series in 2022. So these, you can refer to this previous test series and solve questions from there, which also have the solved solutions. You can refer to them. And one more source is Rahul sir also had an initiative called Daily Answer Writing, so in which he used to provide some questions on an everyday basis. So those questions are also of pretty high quality, and I found them pretty useful to get some quality practice in various topics, especially in those topics in which I was weak in. So these are my, I think these questions are more than enough for you to practice and have a comprehensive coverage of every topic. So the next is the final leg of my strategy, which is answer writing. So throughout the preparation, there's another mistake that students tend to make, is that they postpone writing tests till the last moment, and in the last moment before the examination there is a lot to revise, and hence this had to skip writing tests altogether. This is a mistake I've seen time and again. I myself have committed it, and even many of my ranker friends also have committed the same mistake again and again. So make sure you don't commit the same mistake. So always make sure that you are writing tests in parallel with your preparation. So this has various benefits, like writing tests has various benefits. The first is it improves your accuracy under time pressure. Second, your presentation improves. So just like GS answer writing, also make sure that you employ similar tactics in chemistry answer writing as well. Like break the question into numerous parts, have a separate heading for each part, like put the final answer in box, and try to ensure like how you can value add, maybe adding a derivation to that, adding the reaction mechanism even if not asked, adding some extra information regarding SN1, SN2 reactions, etc. So this value addition and presentation will fetch you that extra half to 1 mark in every question. The third is time management. Especially in the last couple of years, the papers of chemistry have become extremely lengthy, and hence time management is vital. So you need to be very quick in choosing the questions, how you choose the questions, your strategy in deciding which question to answer and which one to leave. And while answering, you also need to be smart enough in deciding which answer to add value, do the value addition part, and which answers to not do value addition part and just write the bare minimum. So all this come under real time only when you write tests within the prescribed time limits. And the third factor is time, the final factor is space management. So in some of the questions in chemistry have limited space, so you need to ensure that you maximize the given space. Like for example, if there is only one single page for a question on, say, surface capillary rise, so and you need to do the derivation, so the top half of the page you can divide into two parts and write the derivation, and then proceed in the bottom of the page to solve the problem. So all these things to maximize the given space within the time limit for that question. So this comes with writing tests. So make sure that you keep writing tests along with your preparation and do not leave it to the last moment. So that has been my whole strategy for chemistry optional. So at present our chemistry community is pretty small, so probably 100 odd candidates appear every year in mains through chemistry optional, and maybe around 10 of them end up getting selected. So I hope like many more would choose chemistry optional, because this is a pretty rewarding optional. Like once you put in the effort, you can get the rewards, and because it's a static optional, you can also reap the rewards consistently across years. So I hope many people end up taking chemistry optional and make our community bigger. So I wish you all the very best, everyone preparing for the examination. I wish you all the very best and hope you get what your heart desires. Thank you.